There are 10 games to go in the Premier League. There's a game in hand, which is one of those 10, which is the Chelsea game. That's going to be wedged in the middle of a really busy schedule already. And of course, we've got to negotiate quarterfinals with Bayern Munich. And if we do well enough to win that, Real Madrid and Man City will be waiting. I've done a video on this. Go check it out. It came out last week where I talked about our potential run to the final, why we should enjoy it and embrace it, and why it's a good thing. But the point is, Arsenal have a real run-in both the major competitions. Let's be honest, are the ones Arsenal are being judged on. That's not to say that the other competitions don't matter massively. I treat every competition seriously, but everyone's looking to see the yardstick is, how are Arteta and Arsenal doing in the Premier League and the Champions League, competing with the very, very best in the game? Now, I think that Arsenal, if they are to have any genuine success in these competitions, which means winning it or at least being incredibly competitive and pushing sides all the way, and balancing the two, because that's something Arsenal haven't been able to prove that you can do, is balance multiple competitions in one season under Mikel Arteta. I think if they're to do that, Arteta's got to trust in his squad. And I think there are 5 players in particular that he has to trust in the run-in, that I just have slight fears that as it starts to build, he might start to look away from these players. And I'm going to tell you why. We're going to start with the first player I think he needs to trust in the run-in, and that is Gabriel Jesus. And the reason I say this is because we've recently seen Arsenal really hit form in the absence of Gabriel Jesus. He started a few games, sure, but actually big wins against Liverpool, against Newcastle, Kai Havertz leading the line. He scored some big goals in these games as well. I think he scored 4 goals in 4, and he was big in the Porto game in the Champions League as well. But when I look at Gabriel Jesus, this isn't a criticism of Kai Havertz, who I think is really growing into that role as a striker. But what I would say about Gabriel Jesus is when he is at his best, his quality is unmatched. Now, I understand he's had injury problems, and that particular injury, the knee, it makes it look like he's maybe lost a little bit of mobility and twist and turn. But I think he can get that back. He wasn't out for a whole year. It was a 4-month injury. He actually came back to the pitch in the same season. And I think if he can rediscover some of that quality, there's no one who's as unpredictable, as chaos creating, and as enjoyable to watch and as invigorating for a crowd as Gabriel Jesus. And I think we might need, at the end of this season, what we got at the start of last season with Gabriel Jesus, to re-energise the team and just try and just get that energy when it starts to get tired, it starts to get sluggish. We're really kind of dealing with game after game after game. I think Jesus could be massive, especially when you're talking about rotating the front 3, where Martinelli and Saka probably are going to have to play most minutes they're fit. And actually, you've got a player in Jesus who can do it out on the right, out on the left, even if you don't want to drop Kai Havertz. He's proven it in Europe as well. We know that he's really good in the Champions League. I just feel Gabriel Jesus, in both competitions, could have a massive part to play, and he's going to have to trust him, because I know he's had injury problems. I know he's his signing as well, though, Arteta. I just feel there's a chance that he just rests on Havertz, Saka and Martinelli to try and drag us through, but Jesus could play a major part. The next player I've got is Takahiro Tomiyasu. Again, like Jesus, the guy can't stay fit, and that is a problem, because ultimately when you're trying to build a title-winning side, especially the back four, they have to stay fit, they have to stay unified, and they have to build relationships, and they have to get that repetition, that regularity with one another as you get into those really, like I said, sluggish, difficult, pressured, games of the season. But with Tomiyasu, he gives you something that I don't think the other 4 defenders give you as well as he does when he's at his best, and that for me is one-on-one defending. You might think I'm crazy. What, William Saliba, Gabriel, they are amazing. They're amazing at a lot of things. But if you're talking about the one thing Tomiyasu can do brilliantly, it's actually defend on the one-on-one. Now, I will say, when he's not been at it, I've seen him cooked by Anthony on pre-season tour. I've seen him cooked by Jordan Ayew at the beginning of the season. So you might think that's a crazy claim. But I do believe that when Tomiyasu is absolutely fit and firing at his best, no one can beat him in a one-on-one duel, or at least I saw Raheem Sterling struggle against him and many others. In the Champions League, when we're facing the likes of Leroy Sané, maybe Vinicius if we make it to the semi-finals and meet them at the Bernabeu, I think Tomiyasu could be big for this, and I think he's going to have to give him some minutes and trust him so that he can call upon him and he's ready when it comes to some of those bigger ties where Tomiyasu is a little bit of your trump card, he's a little bit of a secret play that can give us that little bit extra. Let's move on to my next one, and it's Fabio Vieira, another player who's been out with injuries. It's the last one who's part of the injury group. But Fabio Vieira, the reason I'm going to say, I want to keep it very, very simple. When I say trust, I don't think he's going to be starting games. I don't think there's going to be any point in this run-in where Fabio Vieira is a starter. But I know Arsenal Football Club. I know my team. There is going to be pressure at some point. And when that pressure comes and we're struggling for a goal and we need a little bit of magic, for me, the player you turn to is a player like Fabio Vieira, who has shown in a short time at Arsenal that yes, he hasn't got the consistency yet, we haven't seen that, but he is a player who can produce a moment of magic via a pass, via a cross, via a defence splitting something that just makes you go, wow, how did he see that? I arguably think he's a better final third chance creator, executor in that way than Martin Odegaard. And I've just done a video of Martin Odegaard, by the way. I love him to bits, and you can see why I love him to bits in that video I released on Monday. But my point about Fabio Vieira here is he has this ability to play. But look at that assist for Fulham. Like, that was world class, that assist. And I think there might be a time where we need to call on him. And I think Arteta needs to be brave and recognise if you need to sacrifice some power and presence in midfield just to get a little bit of guard and creativity and unpredictability on the ball from midfield when things are looking really tough, Fabio Vieira should be your first port of call from the bench if you're going to do something different in midfield. I then move on to my final two, Jorginho. Now, the thing I've got about Jorginho is you're going, what? Arteta's played him loads. He's trusted him at Stamford Bridge in games against City, against Liverpool, against Newcastle. What are you talking about? I have a theory or feeling or doubt, whatever word you want to use, that if Thomas Partey is to get fit and get more minutes, Arteta may be tempted to revert to Thomas Partey because of his potential ceiling, which is Partey can at his best be much better than Jorginho. But I think we need to recognise as well that Jorginho's flaw and how bad he's been has never been as bad as Partey's been when he has been off form. Sometimes Partey has looked really off the pace. Now, last season he was brilliant, but he fell off in the title run-in. Jorginho's consistency and experience and the fact that he's really got over the line, whether it be with the Euros, whether it be with the Champions League, is something I think we're going to need. And if we are coming to games where we want to give Rice a number 6 partner and let him sort of have a bit more free roam box to box, I think he's got to trust Jorginho right now before Partey, even if Partey is fully fit. And then my final one is Jakub Kiwior. Again, another player who has been playing a lot of games right now. But again, I just fear that with Jurrien Timber back in full training, with Tomiyasu, who I've said needs to play more minutes, so I'm slightly contradicting myself, and Zinchenko because of what he can give us on the ball. You know, Kiwior is a backup to Gabriel at centre-back. That's really what his role in the squad is. He's playing left-back because the 3 other starting left-backs ahead of him are all injured. But Kiwior's been brilliant. And what I noticed in the Porto game was he had a calmness, he had a cool head, he had an assuredness that I actually think a lot of other players were missing in that game. I think he looked more settled and more understanding of the occasion than Saliba and Gabriel did. Now, maybe it's probably easier at left-back than it is at centre-back for those two, to be fair. But I was really impressed with how he handled the occasion. And I think with Tomiyasu, Timber, Tomiyasu and Timber we haven't seen in this situation for Arsenal, nor have they proven their fitness. But again, I've stated I think Tomiyasu needs to be trusted in key moments as well. And Zinchenko last season, I think, not let us down, but he fell away a little too much for my liking in the run-in. I think Kiwior needs to be trusted by Mikel Arteta to keep this run going. And with this 2-week break, it could be very tempting to just bring other players in for the Etihad, City away, and some of the crunch games we will come in. But I would trust Kiwior right now until the performances not start to dip, but until you really feel like there's no way we can keep him in the team because someone else has to come in, whether it's because they're training really well or Kiwior just isn't looking up to it. But I trust that he will look up to it. Just some honourable mentions. I mentioned Jurrien Timber there. I know a lot of you will be saying, you know, if he's fit, he's got to trust him. Look how brilliant he's looked. I understand, but he has missed so much football that we're not just talking about him getting like physically fit. We're talking about him getting match fit and up to the speed of it again. And this is a pressurised situation to chuck him back into. I think Timber will get some minutes, but if Tomiyasu's fit, Kiwior's in Cheng's return, I think Timber's going to play very little football, but he will get some minutes at the end of this season, in my opinion. And then the other one, which might sound a crazy one, is Reiss Nelson. These don't make my top 5, so I'm just giving a line on those. But the reason Reiss Nelson's an honourable mention is, I mentioned it before the Porto game. If we are missing a Martinelli or a Saka, I think we need to go more like for like and get pace in the team. And I don't think we should be scared to go with the right profile, even if there are other players who've got a little bit more quality, but they don't naturally fit that position. Trossard, who I think is brilliant, and I think Arteta will trust him in the running. That's why I'm including him in my 5. But with Trossard, I think he does his best work from central areas. If you're looking for a like-for-like with Martinelli, when he's injured, like he is at the moment, I think you've got to turn to a Reiss Nelson a little bit more than perhaps Arteta willing to. But those are just some honourable mentions. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who does Mikel Arteta have to trust in this running? Because we know he can get a little bit tunnel visioned. You know, Kivior should have come in for Rob Holding a lot earlier last season. He learned that when it was a bit too late. So what do you hope that Mikel Arteta picks up and takes on, and who are the players that he should trust in this run-in, even if they're not really looking like they're going to have a massive part to play right now, but they could do between now and the end of the season. And I just want to say a really big thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, actually hit the links right here to watch more content like this, including my Football First podcast, which drops every Monday to Friday at 6 AM. And I know it's annoying, I am really sorry to have to ask, but if you want to show support to the channel, hitting the like and subscribe buttons help promote the content much more than you could possibly know. Thanks again.